Well, good morning. Haku, everyone. My name is Luhui Whitebear. I'm the Center Director at the Native American Longhouse Ina House. I use she, her pronouns. And I am Coastal Shumash with Waztec and Cochimi ancestry. I'm really excited to be here today to help celebrate the graduates with you all. And before we get started, I did want to give thanks and recognize the Kalapuya people whose land we are on. I encourage you all, if you don't know the histories and current contributions to the places in which we call home by the Indigenous people of those lands, that you take the time to look it up. I'm going to drop the native land map in the chat for you all to check out. Here in Corvallis, Oregon, the Ampinafu Band was the primary band, or Mary's River Band of Kalapuya, that lived in the Corvallis area, where the main campus is located. And the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and Confederated Tribes of Siletz are the two primary tribes in which the Mary's River Band became a part of after forced removal following the Willamette Valley Treaties of 1855. They continue to have a presence in the local community and in the tribal communities as well. And a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. This is the first time we've had a virtual one. We just virtual celebration for our graduates. I'm really excited about the speakers we have lined up for you all. So we're going to be, I'm going to be rotating, introducing speakers for the graduating speakers with my colleague Christy Jones. And then we also have an alumni speaker that will be introduced by Valerie Goodness. And following that, we'll be able to see the recognition video of the graduates and hear some words about the Cladoina Alumni Network and how to stay engaged as alumni. And so I don't want to take up too much more time at the beginning of this program. And I'm going to pass it over to Christy to introduce our first speaker.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy Jones, and I'm in a new role at OSU. My role is the Native American and Indigenous Student Support Coordinator, and I'm glad to be here recognizing our students' accomplishments today. And I would love to introduce our first undergrad speaker. Her name is Amayale, and if you would mind sharing your video and sharing your mic, we'd love to hear from you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amayale Itzitsochik Magnon Ferguson, and my dad is from the Masawa people of Mexico, and my mom is from the Osage Nation. When I started as a freshman at OSU, the NAL was still a World War II Quonset hut, and even though it was kind of just a tipped over tin can, it was actually one of the main reasons I applied to go to OSU. And much to my dad's dismay, OSU was pretty much the only school I applied to. So I was glad I got in. But when I actually started classes, I realized I felt extremely out of place, and I couldn't find any sort of community or circle that could support me. And the first thing I noticed when I got to OSU was that I had never seen so many white people in one place at one time, and that I had never seen so many people in one place that had a better financial background, that were wealthy and privileged, and came from very different experiences than I did. For the first few years, I worked multiple jobs, and any minute that I wasn't in class, I was at work or I was commuting back home, so I wouldn't feel so alone. I felt really isolated, and even though I worked so hard to get to college, I began to think it was the worst mistake I had ever made. But then my parents encouraged me to actually make the time to go into the NAL, and I did, and I introduced myself to Lou, and we had a conversation, and I asked how to get involved, and ended up applying to a job that I thought was like a receptionist kind of job at the NAL, and once I got hired, I realized I accidentally applied to be in a leadership position, but it was actually the best thing that could have happened to me, and it really changed my life. At the NAL, I found a support system for the very first time at OSU, and I found community. I found friends, and I found mentorship, and together we experienced pain and loss, but we also experienced laughter and joy. Together we grew into our identities, and we found our voices, and we probably made a few enemies along the way too. We challenged policies, and we confronted administrators and dealt with people coming in or calling in and saying things like, are there really any real Indians left? Or do you know where I can find a shaman to complete my online shaman course? Or even, can someone come down and bless my graduate project? We worked so hard, but we did it knowing that we were creating a legacy and knowing that everything we left behind would make it easier for the next student who came along, alone and separated from what they knew, and learning how to navigate a system that was built to keep us out. Together, we built a support system that could be like a home away from home for so many students just like us. So many of us come to places like OSU with the extra burden of feeling like we need to pave the way for others, something that other students don't even have to think about. But we know what it's like to be here as Indigenous students, and together we know just how good it feels now to close this door behind us and open the next one, knowing that we did the work that was going to have lasting impact for future students. Without this community, I would not be here today graduating alongside my peers. And it took me nearly 8 years to see it through, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. We all had our obstacles, and each one of us knows exactly what it took for us to get here today. But the struggle won't be the only thing I look back on anymore. It'll be all the failed recipes in the MU kitchen, and the karaoke nights, and the venting sessions, and all the times we walked into a room as a group ready to disturb the peace. And off we go now to create more communities and more memories. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ame, for sharing your words and your memories. And I remember that too. I'm so glad that you applied to be part of the staff, and even though you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. But I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and that is Kobe Nadachu. So Kobe, if you wanted to get started.
Thank you, Lou. Keshi kotan awan do ke Kobe Nadachu lechina hot daka kande yatukakwa awan chatle hot shiwe dene dap katishkia hom tit the Kathy Nadachu lechina hom dachu Troy Nadachu lechina hom wobo Lolita Nadachu lechina hom nana Fred Nadachu lechina hom hota Lupi Likidi lechina hom nana George Likidi lechina. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Kobe Nadachu. I use all pronouns. My peoples are Zuni, Navajo, and San Felipe, all of which located what we now call New Mexico and Arizona. I'm a graduate in OSU with a Bachelor of Science in Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, a minor in Queer Studies. I first want to thank Lumbini Fobana Kalapuya and their lineal descendants that are now part of the Confederate Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederate Tribes of Siletz Indians. Alakwa. Thank you for all your homelands have offered me as a Shui from Halona as I finished my undergrad here at Oregon State University. Where do I even begin to express the amount of love and gratitude I have for my fellow graduating peers, mentors, and all those who I've had the honor of building relationships with while attending OSU? I think back to my first time on campus nearly 5 years ago, where I came to Oregon State on a whim, knowing nobody, living in new settings, and hoping I find my place of belonging. Lost on campus, I came across a building called the Native American Longhouse, Ina House. Different from any other place on campus, I walked in unaware of how this would change my life for the better. This is where I found my family, where I knew I could come to in any situation, whether that was a space to do homework, get advice from other folk, have a good laugh or several, and even a much needed venting session when everything felt like too much. This is where I found my home away from home. Volunteering turned into a peer facilitator position, and peer facilitator turned into leadership liaison. And I now find myself having worked at the NAL for 4 of my 5 years, and I've never regretted it. I've had some of my best memories created because of my involvement in the center that still brings me joy when I reflect back on them. When I became the official fry bread maker for the NAL and the Native American Student Association, making fry bread for powwow or just when we wanted something to eat, knowing Lou and I's recipes could never work together, even though we tried. Mobbing the campus event as a group because historically, splitting up has never worked out for us natives. Hearing our laughter before our arrival and building a reputation that the NAL community always sticks together. Creating my NAL family has helped me get to where I am today, and I'm forever grateful for all the laughter, late night conversations, tears, and memories we've been able to create. Just as Lou likes to remind us, we are part of an ever-growing legacy of students who've worked towards creating space for Indigenous students on this campus. We joke of becoming elders in the community, never imagined this day would come to fruition, and I now find myself at a loss for words to truly express how appreciative I am to have reached such an achievement because of those who believed in me. Eloqua, Tanae, Jody, Bailey, Ruta, Alicia, Roma, Chanti, Charlie, Kailu, Ame, Raven, Kylie, and so many others for being more than just NAL coworkers. But the reason why I came into the center feeling like I had a home and had a family. For always finding the humor during the most difficult times and having others question if they should laugh or ask if we're okay. We're not, by the way. For trips to the coast, powwow adventures, Applebee's trivia, karaoke night, and so much more. Y'all make the most mundane moments memorable. Eloqua to Luhui Whitebear, Allison Davis White Eyes, Holy Driscoll, for being my mentors who believed in my ability to succeed and writing my letters of recommendation for graduate school that will begin in the fall. A special thank you to Lou for helping me make a last-minute degree change that ultimately helped me become passionate about my academics again. Lou has guided me through some of the hardest times while at OSU and pushed me to pursue achievements I would have never attempted alone. Eloquent to my sister, my Kiau, for loving who I've become and pulling me out of despair multiple times when I truly could not see a future. You and Matt brought the future to this world, who continues to inspire me to be a good ancestor. Eloquent to my parents who supported me, worried about me, and above all, continue to learn probably just as much as I have while I've been in college. It has been through their teachings and values that I've sustained myself while being so far away from home. And finally, eloquent to my ancestors, my Alta Shinawe, whose resiliency and legacy and resistance is the reason I've had the opportunity to share these moments. I leave you all with a poem that I return to at times. All I'm trying to be is a good ancestor. My present is their past, my past is their future, and my future is their present. Anyone can be an ancestor, but to be a Gokshi ancestor takes work during the present. For refusing to be silenced when the opposition, taking care of yourself when the hurt becomes too great, willing to destroy oneself to begin anew, knowing your discomfort is only temporary when it's time to pass on your strength, being there for my kin long after my material body has gone, listening for their prayers from faraway worlds, having my love transcend generations, sending gratitude for their triumphs, and I hope they know all I'm trying to be is a Gokshi Atashi, Eloqua, Leowi.
Thank you, Kobe. That was a great speech, and thank you for ending on that poem. It was excellent. The next group I want to introduce is a group of 3 speakers, and one of them specifically I've been able to watch grow at OSU over the many years of her involvement with EOP. Next, I would like to introduce Ruta, Nay, and Jody.
Hi, everyone. My name is Meleane Tapa. I am graduating this year with a BA in sociology with an option in environmental and natural resources and a minor in ethnic studies. I wanted to start off, well, I'm the first of the three, and I'm gonna start off, not me being nervous. Okay. We are Pacifica. I want to take this time to give thanks and praise to each and every one of you who has helped me complete my undergrad years. Oh, I'm about to cry. First and foremost, I want to thank, oh, I tried to make it through, y'all.
Take as much time as you need.
First and foremost, I wanted to thank my grandmother who has went to her glory. Thank you, Nusi, for showing me what perseverance looks like. And to my parents, thank you for showing me what sacrifice can look like. To my sisters, thank you for showing me what great work ethic can look like. And to my brothers, thank you for showing me what grinding and hustle looks like. And to my kiddo, thank you for making me smile and laugh every time I really needed to. And to the rest of my family, thank you for showing me what unconditional love looks like. Thank you to each and every one of my friends that I met in college, that I was able to find a home away from home. And also that the NAL, its staff, and its community played that role. Because without any of you, I would not be here right now saying this speech at this graduation ceremony. Thank you, Lou, for being the greatest mentor anyone could ask for. Thank you to the NAL for not only watching me grow, but providing the tools and resources that made me that made me find my way towards growth. This center played a huge role in my undergrad year, and I would not have made it to this ceremony if it wasn't for the support of my NAL and DCE family. I'm forever grateful. Thank you to all my Pacifica community that I met in Corvallis, especially the Fifita family, Auntie Sandy, and the many more who made me feel connected and stay connected to my Islander identity. Thanks for the home cooked meals that cured me of my homesickness throughout the holidays away from home. Thank you for the endless life lessons and stories of power and resilience that you all shared with me that continued to inspire and drive me to this very moment. Thank you for letting me know that I do have a place here as a Pacific Islander at this predominantly white institution. I am forever grateful. Words will never express the abundance of gratitude and love that I have for each and every one of you that I have mentioned. Congratulations to the class of 2021 graduates. Take a shot, y'all. We did it. Malo apito and ofalahiatu.
Hello, everyone. I would go after best friend, huh? But my name is Jody Ann. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a fourth year graduating senior. I have a major in psychology with minors in studio art and philosophy. And I am a student peer facilitator at the Native American Longhouse. We are Pacifica. Everything that I've accomplished to this day, everything that I've learned, the people I've met, and the relationships I've built have played a tremendous role in the future generations that I hope to inspire. Fafitai Telilava, I'm completely overwhelmed by the amount of support that I've received from my family. Mom, thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for teaching me the value in being able to make others happy. My only hope is that I've been able to successfully reflect everything that you've taught me growing up. To my siblings, you all are the reason why I'm here. I'm sorry. Being a first generation student comes with the responsibility of paving the way for the rest of my siblings to do the same. Chris, Saya, Kristen, and Keone, I know you're not told this often, but you can do it. Though I was the first, I will dedicate my life to making sure that I am not the last. My dear grandma, I'm so blessed that you are able to see this day. I've prayed for the day that I could tell you that I did it, and here we are, done. To our Pacific Islander community, I promise you my devotion, that one day I will stand before you completely worthy of your praise. You all have lifted my spirit and gave me new meaning to what family is. I can't express how important it is to have your support while trying to navigate life in a predominantly white institution. My friends and family in Corvallis and my NAL family, thank you for making this campus feel like home. I couldn't have possibly been in this position if it weren't for your loving guidance. As I prepare for what's next, I will cherish the lessons, talks, karaoke nights, and good vibes. But until next time, family, thank you all for a memorable 4 years.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'll go ahead and close our group out. I'm Ruta, she, her pronouns. I work at the NAO as a peer facilitator for the Pacific Islander initiatives. And I'm in my 5th year, final year, thank goodness. We made it, y'all. But yeah, we are Pacifica. Shout out to the brilliant-minded folks who came before me, to the inspiring individuals who helped me find my voice, and to the hardworking, resilient people who empowered me in understanding the change that I want to contribute to this world. Mom, Dad, oh, excuse me, we made it. Thank you for the sacrifices you made since the day I was born up to this day, and for the overflowing love you've shared with me since then. I hope today shows that your hard work and diligence did not go unnoticed, as this degree is not just for me, but it's for you too. To Mama Pua, my beautiful and strong grandmother, I can't tell you how grateful I am to have you in my life and to have learned so much from you. Because of my early experiences that I had with you, your positive influence on my life has played a role in shaping me into the person I am today. Thank you to OSU faculty and staff who became mentors along the way for always keeping it real with me. Special shout out to Dr. Patricia Fifita and Dr. Robert Thompson, Y'all not only taught me the history that was intentionally hidden from me in school, y'all also showed me ways to challenge the narratives that had been used to justify the mistreatments of my ancestors and my elders. Another special shout out to my EOP fam, specifically my academic counselor, Kim McAloney, who became the big sister I never had. To my colleagues, who became my peers and extended family, y'all inspired me every day that I was here and really helped me push through this institution. To be in the presence of such critical thinkers, game changers, innovators, I can go on. It truly was an honor, and I will not take it for granted. And last but not least, to my Pacifica fam, both living and passed on. Today proves that we are still here and that our resilience is louder than the colonizers' efforts to try and make us invisible. They may have stolen our islands, appropriated our cultures, even tried to silence our languages, but they did not take away our minds and our hearts. As the renowned poet and activist Teresa Siangotonu said, what kind of ancestor are you aiming to be? We are the original voyagers who sailed the seas, and just like Moana returning the heart of Te Fiti, let that be a symbol of us staying true to who we are, no matter how big these waves get, and to always remember our roots wherever we go. To always remember that we are one, we are unity, we are Pacifica. Alofa atu.
Thank you, Ruta, Jody, and Nay for your bringing your beautiful words, and for all the undergrad speakers. We're super proud of you. Your communities and ancestors are proud too. I'm going to be introducing our graduate student speaker. So I'm going to ask Andres Lopez to go ahead and when you're ready.
I thought I cried so much last night during Lavender graduation, and I feel like I'm just kind of finally able to let a lot of stuff out right now. But first, Sakarik Chechalak Aktihab, Sakarik Chechalak Tihoshlab, Sakarik Chechalak Le Katat Kanan, Atresh Le Nubi, Kimpepa Le Kuleo Le Mayapunak, Paishimu Leo Le Nubina Nutinamit. Hi everyone, my name is Andres Lopez. I'm just wrapping up a PhD in Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies with a minor in Queer Studies. And I've been here at Oregon State for about 7 years now. It's funny because my partner and I are sort of packing stuff up right now because we're about to move across the country and across a made-up border. And I feel like what keeps coming back to me are just like a bunch of different like snippets of stories. So I thought today I'd just kind of share a couple of those. And first off, starting off with the fact that like many of the speakers that have already gone before me, I feel incredibly grateful to everyone here at Oregon State and everyone who's like helped to support me in the past 7 years to be able to finish this degree and like help me grow as a person and a scholar and as an educator as well. I feel like one of the stories that keeps coming up for me is actually thinking about my freshman year of undergraduate. I was at an honors college and a different primarily white institution that was very, very small. And it was the spring of 2007, so a while ago. And I was meeting with my advisor at the time, and I just started bawling. I started crying. I was talking to her about how I didn't feel like I belonged there and that I just couldn't do it. You know, I was often one of, if not the only person of color in all of my courses, as well as the only visibly queer person in the entire school. Again, we were super tiny, super tiny, like 500 people big. And I remember specifically this faculty member who was a white woman, made me some tea, made me a sandwich, and she just talked to me and sort of helped me to like calm down a little bit. But what I remember the most about that day is that like I went back to my dorm room and I literally, like, this old school, but like I pulled out a piece of graph paper and I mapped out how I like decided that day that I wanted to get a PhD. And I decided that I wanted to get a PhD because I didn't want other people who looked like me, who were like mixed race, indigenous people, queer folks, to feel the same way I was feeling that day. And I'm excited to like see all of you and like feel so, I don't know all of you and I feel so proud of all of your accomplishments. And I keep thinking about like the decision I made that day back in 2007, finally coming to fruition like over a decade later. And what I keep thinking about is also the space that we all make for other people to follow, right? Like I feel like other folks have already touched on this a little bit, but part of making that space is also like recognizing that we don't often know our histories, that we don't know who our communities are sometimes, or at least in my case, I don't know that entirely. And it's hard to like be in that space constantly. But I think that part of what makes moments like this, and particularly this celebration so powerful, is like recognizing and seeing each other. And I think that that's something that I've learned through my time at Oregon State, is to like see people, regardless of what else might be going on. So I, just wanna, again, like I said, I was gonna share a couple of snippets of story. I'm wrapping things up right now. Things are wrapped up and I'm in the process of like packing things. And again, like I keep going back to stories. I keep going back to like people that I've spent time with and that have supported me even up until like very last minute presentation making. And I want to use the words of Gloria Anzaldúa because she talks about carrying her home with her on a turtle shell, like a turtle shell. And I just want to say that as I move on to this next step in my life and like my career, I'm going to carry all of you all with me in my turtle shell home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lopez. I'm so excited we get to call you that now. And for this, for our final speaker, I wanted to thank the Clarahuayna Alumni Network for helping arrange an alumni speaker to share some words with all the graduates and friends and family. And I'm gonna pass it over to Valerie Goodness for the introduction.
OSU, it is my great pleasure to introduce Renee Romanos. Renee is an enrolled member of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes of Oklahoma. She's an activist, artist, actor, poet, painter, photographer, and cultural anthropologist. Her book, Sweetgrass Talking, 2017, was nominated for Oregon Book of the Year. Her paintings and photography have been featured in Oneida, New York, Tacoma, and Everett, Washington. Her second book, Have War Paint Will Travel, is currently with the publisher, and her third book, yet untitled, is a collaborative book of poetry with Susan Harjo. Renee participated in the Women's March in Washington, D.C., was at Standing Rock, and has spoken at universities across the nation. She's read poetry and poetry workshops across the world and is best known for her role as Camille in the movie Some Days Are Better Than Others. Renee received her bachelor's degree in anthropology, sociology at Eastern Oregon University, then earned her MAIS from Oregon State University, majoring in applied anthropology with a double minor in ethnic studies and art. Right now, she lives and thrives in the Pacific Northwest as the Native American Student Success Coordinator at Oregon Department of Education in the Office of Indian Education. Please welcome Renee Romanos.
Val, thank you for that very warm and kind introduction. My hands go up to each of you for your sacrifice, for your struggles, for all the times you felt like falling down, but you got back up and you dusted yourself off and you kept going. In listening to these speeches, I found myself moved to emotion as well. Reminded of my own journey through education at Oregon State and at other places as we seek to reach our academic goals in spaces that aren't always conducive or nurturing to us. And I'm reminded of the words of my grandfather, Eugene Blackbear Sr., who told me, "Tears are for healing. They're a gift from the Creator." So my path to where I'm at now has been quite turbulent. No one's life is without pitfalls and without some bumps and bruises. And I want to remind you that you are resilient, that overcoming the obstacles in your way is how you got to where you are today. By getting back up when it felt like it'd be easier just to curl up and lay there. By getting back up and going to class on the day when you felt terrible, showing up, going to different events to support your cultural center, to support each other. All those things, all those memories for me are just rolling through my mind like right now, like a wave, or like the giant boulder from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe more like that. You know, getting to see Valerie and Christy Jones and, you know, all of the people who were at OSU when I was there. I graduated in 2010 with my master's. Allison Davis White Eyes, I wouldn't have graduated without her. I wouldn't have graduated without the direct intervention of former President Ray. So I learned from that, when someone asks you how you're doing, it's okay to say, "I'm not doing very well." It's okay to be honest, because that's how I graduated, because President Ray asked me how I was doing. And I said, "Do you have a minute? Because something's awry here." And he smoothed the path for me and helped me to graduate. So science tells us that our DNA holds the historical generational trauma of our ancestors. The story not told is that we have also inherited the strengths of our ancestors. And there's two ways to tell every story, if not more. But why not choose to tell the positive story? Why not choose to remember that the poetic strengths that I have are inherited from my father. My father was a very eloquent speaker and a writer. I have two sisters on my father's side, or three sisters. We have different moms, but all of us write. All of us are poets. That was inherited. That's a strength from my ancestors. So I often tell people to use your story. Don't let your story use you. We see people on the streets all the time who are letting their story use them. And you, as you stand here, or well, you're not standing here, as you sit here, as you join me in this sit down graduation, remember always that you are resilient, and standing behind you, cheering you on at every accomplishment, are your ancestors who've gone before. They are the voice in your head, offering guidance, telling you, don't date that girl or don't date that guy, get to class on time, wake up, get going. Those are your ancestors speaking to you. They're encouraging you. They are guiding you. Linda Hogan, who's Chickasaw, had this amazing quote. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands. You, each and every one of you. You've leaned on each other. You've cried on each other's shoulders. You've celebrated with one another. You have earned this celebration. You have earned this through your time, through the years it's taken you to get where you're at. And I say that because it took me a long time to get through. I went to Eastern Oregon University as a freshman right out of high school. I went for 2 years. I was running 3 sports or competing in 3 sports and working 2 jobs. And I got burnt out, and I went off and I went into life and went back to college, went back to Eastern at 40 and finished my bachelor's. And my instructors pushed me. They're like, oh, go get your PhD, go do that, go do that. And I went to OSU. And so here's where I want to tell you how courageous you are. Because I went and visited OSU as a senior in high school. And I walked up the road next to the administration building, and I saw all these giant buildings to me because I grew up in Sandy, Oregon, in the foothills of Mount Hood. And it was overwhelming to me, and I couldn't attend there. And so when I got recruited by the coach at Eastern Oregon University after a visit there. And so I went to Eastern because the buildings were small and the community was small, and I felt more at home there. But when I graduated Eastern, where did I go? I went to Oregon State. I was ready. Sometimes it takes a while for us to build up the courage and the confidence and the fortitude to put ourselves into those situations that seem kind of scary. But I decided that someday I was going to be 45 with or without a master's degree, and I wanted it to be with. So as I see your accomplishments and I hear you telling your stories, it's so inspiring. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. You are tenacious, you are worthy, you're hardworking, you are respectful, you are brave, you are honorable and adventurous. How adventurous is it to go to a university of this size and kick butt and take names? You guys have accomplished such an amazing goal, and it's so challenging and to get through this system. And it's so inspiring that you have. When I went back to college, 4 of my sisters went back to college. One of them saying to me, well, if you can do it, anybody can do it. And I thought, yeah, she's right. She's right. 4 of my sisters went back to college, finishing their associates, 1 finishing a bachelor's. People are watching you. People are inspired by you. The accomplishments that you have made, people see that. And people you may not even realize are paying attention. They're watching you, and they're seeing you live your best life in a good way and accomplish great things. And it's so inspiring for everyone. I would like to share with you a couple poems because I am a poet. This first poem is called Depth. Reach deeper, he said to me. Pull from within to see who you are. Let your blood and the blood of your ancestors speak. Speak to you, speak to us all. As I heard the words today of these speakers, of these amazing inspirational students, it reminded me of that poem and I wanted to share it with you. Such a pleasure and privilege to be invited to speak with you. I just want to remind you that life happens every day. You keep getting up, you keep pursuing your goals, put your goal in mind and then go after it, just as you've gone after your degree, just as you have persisted and not just survived, but thrived. This next poem is called Wind Song. The wind carries messages for those with ears to hear. The trees carry signs for those with eyes to see. The forest tells stories to those who can read. The eagle beckons to those whose spirits are free. In my preparation for this moment with you, and I think, again, thank you for sharing this moment with me, I called my favorite spring graduate, which is my daughter, who returned to college this term, working full-time, a full-time mom, a full-time foster mom, a full-time wife, went to college full-time these last 2 terms and is graduating this spring. And I said to her, I said, if you were in this event today, what would you want to hear? And so I'm actually going to quote her because her words are so eloquent. Even though life is not always giving us what we want, it's giving us the lessons we need. Life is messy. It is imperfect. Her name is Stephanie Ironheart, and thank you for letting me share that. So I want to remind you again of your ancestors standing behind you. You are a descendant of survivors. You are a descendant of people who are adaptable, who are resilient. You come from communities that have not just survived, but are also thriving. We all go through struggles. We all face challenges. You have shown others how to meet those challenges. You have shown yourself that you can do it, that you have the strength and the resilience to do so that generations to come will look back and see what you have accomplished and what you will continue to accomplish throughout your lives. The Native American Longhouse has so many memories layered in the foundations and on the floor, so many songs, so many prayers, so many tears and so much laughter and so many stressful study moments. They're all right there. You can come back anytime and visit. You can walk those paths at Oregon State anytime. Maybe some of you will walk them with your children someday. Maybe you'll just walk them and remember the wonderful people who have touched your life and who have encouraged you and strengthened you through your studies. I had so many people reach out to me. I had professors who encouraged me. I had a family member struggling while I was in grad school, and so I was struggling along with that person and helping them to get through what they had to get through. So it made grad school very, very difficult. And I also worked 7 part-time jobs, which is a little bit insane. I lived by my day planner, but I lived and I survived and I'm thriving. And that's thanks to my community. And I know that each of you are grateful to your community. I was reading in the chat, I was reading all the messages of encouragement and love and just support. And that's what the Native American Longhouse is. It's a nurturing, warm, caring environment that just happens to come with fry bread. So in closing, almost in closing, I'm going to read one more poem and then I will close up. So thank you for indulging me. And I leave you with this poem, Eternal Song. I feel the song of 1,000 years. I smell the earth of my ancestors. I see the sky that looked on other nations. I hear the song that carries us through the ages. I taste the victory so long denied. So graduates, class of 2021, congratulations on a job well done. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Renee, for sharing your words and about your journey. It's so beautiful. And we're going to go ahead and transition over to the graduation recognition component. I'm going to be showing a video that highlights each of the graduates that that registered to be recognized. And I'm notorious for sharing the wrong screen. So if I do that, somebody please unmute and tell me, because I will not see the chat, but we're going to hope that I do it right this time for you all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And if folk are on, if you can mute if you're unmuted by accident. Yeah. Hold on a second. Of course, I have a tech issue. Sorry, hold on. Not the tech issues, everybody's worst nightmare. There should be sound associated with that, with this, so. It says the sound is on, so I'm gonna try again. And yeah, if there's no tech issues, I don't know if it's everything says the sound is 100%. There's definitely not sound happening. Okay, let me try this one more time, and if it doesn't work, we will have to do it without the sound, which is sad because it's a really beautiful song that one of our advisory council members gave permission to use. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and have it without sound. I apologize about that to the graduates that you're not able to have that playing in the background. Again, sorry about the sound glitch, but I'm going to pass it over to Orman Morton. And I'll share the slides here in a second as soon as Orman comes on. So give us a quick update about the Claro-Ina Alumni Network.
Kwe Nidabe Naga Nidabisqua. Congratulations to the class of 2021 Native and Indigenous graduates of Oregon State University. You have faced incredible hardship and fear in your journey, but like the ancestors, grandmothers, and grandfathers who have preceded you, you have persevered. You have allowed the Creator to guide your way and put your faith in the path that was chosen. It is with great honor that I get to speak with you on this very special day. My name is Orman Morton, class of 2016, Cherokee, Naga Bernawipskui Nia, and I speak to you from the lands of the Susquehannock, Nanticoke, and Piscataway. Today, you join a group of over 205,000 worldwide graduates from Oregon State University. As a member of the Oregon State University Alumni Association, president of the Claro-Ina Alumni Network, and advisory committee member for the NAL, I invite you to join me in continuing your journey as a proud member of our Beaver Nation and stay active, connected, and involved in the evolution of our institution and community. As 2021 graduates, you have all been gifted a free one-year digital membership to the OSU Alumni Association. Use it to access resources, engage in activities, and network with fellow alumni so that you may continue to thrive personally and professionally. In 2019, Luhui Whitebear, Allison Davis White Eyes, Gail Woodside, Renee Romanos, Katie Scott, and I decided that it was time for Native and Indigenous students, staff, alumni, and graduates to be presented with the OSU Alumni Association to have representation through the Claro-Ina Alumni Network. Our network provides services and support to all of you. And just as we are here to help you, we would like to ask you to help us. Join us in representing our Native and Indigenous community of alumni as we continue to assist those in need, provide support to our next class of graduates, the NAL, the Native American Student Association, and our cultural resource centers at Oregon State University. Join us in reaching out to our tribes and our communities to learn of their concerns and needs and become an active participant in finding solutions. This year, under the direction of Katie Scott, the Claro-Ina Alumni Network provided over 820 handmade face masks to help tribes protect community members from the coronavirus. Please become an active member in your new community of Native and Indigenous alumni. Again, congratulations to the 2021 graduating class of Native and Indigenous students at Oregon State University. We look forward to interacting with you at our upcoming alumni and community events. You can reach us on Facebook at the Claro-Ina Alumni Network. May you always walk with the Creator, Wuli Wuni.
Thanks, Armin, for sharing about how alumni can stay involved and about the Claro-Ina Alumni Network that got started recently, and excited to welcome you all into that network as alum. And I know we're a little bit over time. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time this morning to celebrate our graduates, and congratulations to the class of 2021. And that's the end of our program. You all have a great rest of your day.